In the run-up to the 2022 elections, he met the youth, women and those at the bottom of the pyramid, the center of his campaign.
Tarehe 9 mwezi wa 8 watakutana na wananchi wa Kenya kwa debe.
President William Ruto rode on uplifting the common citizen, whom he called the Kenyan hustler.
Kura yenu ni ya kitendawili ambaye kazi yake haionekani ama ni ya hustler kazi yake inaonekana?
The youth rallied behind their candidate, who at the time was believed to have had the best interests of the Kenyan population at heart.
Tuanze na chini huku safari hii. Ndio tupange ajira ya vijana. Hapa chini. Ndio tupange biashara yenu. Hapa chini. Ndio tupange kilimo kwanza. Hapa chini. Yaani hapa bottom. Hapa chini. Alafu tuende up. Yaani bottom alafu up. Yaani bottom up. Hebu nione watu wa bottom up hapa, nione watu wa bottom up, bottom up, bottom up.
Reducing the cost of living was top of his agenda. Youth employment and the equalization of the Kenyan population was a message he campaigned on, to an extent of dividing the nation along class lines.
I, William Ruto.
18 months later, the youth he promised jobs and a better environment are now revolting against him, with most calling him a liar. All this was amplified by the 2024 finance bill, which had punitive proposals that would have seen most of them forced to dig deeper into their pockets. 16% VAT on bread was the beginning of a major conversation that will lead to chaos across the nation. It is a protest that was led by the nation's youngest informed population, going against the tradition of protest witnessed in the country. The head of state had lost favor with its electorate.
The president has lost legitimacy in the presence of the young people, and that is because of his failure to actualize the things that he promised the youth during the campaign. President William Ruto is one person who rode on the support of young people and women of this country. But as it stands right now, until Thursday, that we did the last protest of last week, President Ruto had not done anything that is in line with what he promised the young people and the women of this country.
The youth revolt, as we are calling it, the youth movement, the protest movement, is not really against an individual in the person of William Ruto. It's against a government that seems not to listen, a government that seems to be out of touch with reality, and also a government that has demonstrated that it has no interest in following up the promises it made to its citizens.
He conceded and gave in to their demands to reject Finance Bill 2024, but they say it was too little too late. Lives had been lost. And now they are calling for his removal from office. But how, why and at what point did he lose touch with the younger generation that has been at the top of his head every time he made a political speech?
We would have expected that the Kenya Kwanza government would have included the youth of this country in civil service. The studies that were done both by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics and other organizations revealed that the civil service is ridden with the older guard, not because they are more experienced, but because they just have to be there. So that inclusion was missing. The high rate of unemployment, the cost of doing business, especially for the younger person, and policies that have made sure that young people do not benefit from even self-employment, that has contributed to this government falling out of touch with the young people.
It only took the young people seriously during elections. And that's why we are saying that majority of young people are iked by the way this government is treating the generation of youth.
The pressure was too much. The young had taken back their power, and now the fabric holding the nation together was hanging by a thread. The future of the nation wants to be on the table. They have been calling for a complete overhaul of the government, and now the head of state is scratching his head to meet the demands of a population that initially had not been a threat to his reign.
This protest has brought young people together. And for the first time, this country was united for the same cause. End corruption, ensure there's good governance, ensure there's employment, ensure that there is no arrogance, ensure that there is respect between the people and those who have been given mandate to represent people.
Did the president underestimate the youth who for a long time have been speaking to him?
But when it comes to the youth's call, still that dismissive attitude has also punctuated how government has reacted to the political movement. I would call it a political movement because it is a political movement. They dismissed the protest as a Gen Z affair, as opulent young people coming out to the street, and I think you remember statements of people appearing on the street with iPhones, arriving in Ubers, and receding to take KFC. That was the dismissive tone that was taken by government.
Members of his party dismissed the young generation. Their impact was looked at as inconsequential. The uproar from the youth has led to the establishment of a national youth forum by the head of state. However, is this what the youth want?
This is an amorphous group. I want to confirm that we don't have a leader. We do not have a leader. And the president talked of dialogue or something. Up to now, we've not sent anybody to go and sit with the president.
The matters to be discussed in the NMSF include jobs, the nation's tax policy, national debt burden, representation and accountability, anti-corruption measures, and any other appropriate agenda. Has the president lost favor with the youth, and will he have redeemed himself by 2027?
No. In 2027, if this government goes on up to 2027, it will not get back into power. 90% of the people who are in authority, including President William Ruto, will not get back into office. That is a reality that they must face. That is a stark reality. They are not going to get back into office, and that means that vote basket that they called hustlers, Mama Mboga, may have learnt a few lessons from this period that we are coming out of. So in 2027, things will be very different. New people are going to get into office.
A president whose rise to power was backed by a youthful population. The population that supported him has now vowed to keep him accountable at all times. President William Ruto's approval rating with a generation that could determine the next election is in murky waters. Brian Amuai, K24, Nairobi.